we are going to go ahead and we're going to get started with Advanced Smartphone Settings class. I think is the name that I called this one. Yep. Okay. So we've got our Advanced Smartphone Settings class today, and everybody's got iPhones, iPads, right? Most of the stuff will work across iPhones and iPads. There'll be a couple things that are just related to phones, but just so you know, the best thing to do is to have your phone out. If you got your phone, is to have your phone out. But I want to talk about the first thing. We're going to go straight down this list. If we don't make it to the bottom by a couple minutes before 5, we'll pick it up tomorrow. That makes sense. We have the time. We can pick it up tomorrow. We can pick it up. So the first thing I want to talk about is different cases. So go ahead and hold your case up in the air. Now, there's a big problem with certain cases that are on the iPhones. Now I'm going to pick yours because yours is a great example of a good case. And I'm going to pick yours because yours is a great example of a bad case. Now, I'm going to show you why. So you can put it back. You can look at the back of your case when I show you this. So when it talks to cases, you have a couple of different things to do with cases. How protective they are is an important variable. You've got all those. But there's something very important because the main thing we use a lot of our phones for is a camera. And the problem is, this is a kind of bad case to use your phone as a camera because you have a reflective surface following around the entire camera. Do you notice her case? It's a pink case, but you notice there's black around the whole camera there? Those are because what happens is if you were to shoot off the flash, it would reflect off of this case and it would overexpose the picture. So it would reflect off the case and overexpose the picture. Now there's a lot of different cases, and people ask me, which case is the best case to use? I want to show you one of the most minimal cases you'll ever see in your life that probably protects a phone better than any of the cases that you currently have. And you're going to look at me and you're going to think I'm crazy when I say this. I'm going to show you the most minimal case. It's called a Rhino shield.
Yeah. And see,
This is it.
they told me that was not good for this.
Of course they're going to tell you that's not good for this. Let me tell you why. It's because you're not going to find Rhino shields in stores. They've done tests with these cases. Now, you're going to think this is crazy, but you can actually drop this off a multi-story building, and your phone will be fine.
This case went from the 8th level down to the 5th level and bounced twice, and it worked fine.
That's fine, but I'm trying. Here's the thing, though.
Okay,
That case is heavy, and it kind of distracts from the aesthetic of the phone. Now, I will tell you, this is not the case I use all the time. I'm just trying to show you. I'm going to show you the case I use every day, which is an awesome, awesome case, which I'm looking for the part of it. I took it apart a little bit. No, there we go. There's both parts. But this guy, as long as your case has a lip, meaning that if you were to put this face down on the table, as long as the screen doesn't hit the table, you're okay. Put it face down on the table, face down on the chair. As long as the screen doesn't hit the table, you're okay. Now here's the thing. Are you always going to drop it on something as perfectly flat as a table? No, you're going to drop it on a rock or you're dropping it on something like that. So you want to have it raised up a little bit, and this is actually rated the best case that you can get for an iPhone. It's called the Rhino Shield because it lifts up the front end, it lifts up the back end, and it's completely encased, and it weighs almost nothing. What you can see is unlike the other Otter boxes and all that, it's a piece of plastic, and that makes it very heavy. Now, do I use this case every day? No. But do I show this as an example of a case? Yes. The thing is, what you're going to see what they sell in the stores. You're going to see around what they have in the stores when you're doing it, and you can find a lot better things online. I'm going to give you Rhino Shield is one name of a case. Another one is called UAG, or Urban Armor Gear. I don't have one of those cases on me right now, but those are pretty good. Now, what they are is they're competitors to like an OtterBox. Now, have you ever heard of LifeProof? You ever heard of that company, LifeProof? They make the waterproof iPhone cases. And they were killing OtterBox. So what do you think OtterBox did? They bought them out. I loved LifeProof cases. I used LifeProof cases exclusively until the iPhone 6. And then if you try and talk on the phone on an OtterBox case, when the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus came out, completely worthless. But I want to show you my favorite cases that I use. And I did not like these cases for a very long time, but then they added a feature that's so cool. So this is my Mophie case. The battery case. This way my phone is always 100% charged. So my phone is always 100% charged because of this case.
Would you spell that?
Mophie.
Okay, thank you.
And I used to recommend these third-party, crappy, knockoff cases you could get on Amazon that were battery cases, everything like that, until halfway through the last cruise, the lightning connector from the third-party crappy case broke off inside of my phone.
Oh.
Jesus.
No, not tweezers. What I had to do to get it out is I had a dress shirt that was still packaged. I took the pins that hold the dress shirt in the package and went in and did a little bit of surgery and pulled it out. But here's what's nice. So you'll notice that my phone is now plugged in. It's not really plugged in. My phone's now plugged in. It's showing that it's charging. And I have one beep left on the case. And if you have a battery case, if any of you have ever had a battery case before, if you've never had a battery case before, you always want to deplete the battery in the case first. So you want to get the case down to 0 because it takes a lot more energy to charge the phone than to keep it charged, if that makes sense. It's a lot more stressful on the battery to charge the phone than to keep it charged. So this is from Mophie. This is the one for the iPhone 7 Plus. It came out about 2 weeks ago. I got it on Embarkation Day. This is the one for the iPhone 6 Plus because I have a 7 Plus and a 6 Plus. But here's where this gets really cool. I never plug these phones in to charge.
No, you check
Oh,
that.
we put them on.
No, I don't plug in the battery case either. Both of these battery cases, the new Mophies, have Qi wireless charging built into them. So you can actually charge your iPhone wirelessly. So I have this. Anybody want to guess where this is from?
Amazon.
Nope.
Oh, IKEA.
IKEA! What's its name? It doesn't have a name. Oh, this is the Nordmark 3 from IKEA, from Sweden. And I keep this next to my bed. And I have one of these here. I have one of them, if you look under my computer monitor, right over there, you'll see a little black box.
What's it called?
This is called Qi wireless charging, QI, wireless charging. And there are rumors that this will be built into the next iPhone. Here's the problem. You can't wirelessly charge through metal. What's the back of the iPhone?
Metal.
You can't wirelessly charge through metal. That's the biggest problem. You can wirelessly charge through plastic. Is Apple going to ship a plastic phone? Not since the iPhone 3GS, yeah.
Will that work on the new GM vehicles?
Yes, this
So
will
that,
work.
you know, on the councils?
That's Qi, yeah. That's
That
Qi.
is.
That Spectrum is Qi. So you can just get this case and you put it there. Now I have this and it's got 3 places. It's got 3 little docks right there. So you'll see that it's not charging right now because I turned it off. And if I press it and leave it there for a couple seconds, it'll go boop.
Yeah.
And what's cool about these cases is they have a chip in them that charges the phone first and the case second.
Got it.
So it's really quite cool. So it'll charge the phone. There we go. It's charging there. And I've got one on my iPhone 7. I've got one on my iPhone 6 Plus. And I've ghetto-fied one on my Pixel. Now what's cool is that you don't need to get a case. I'm just saying you can take your existing case and buy these guys on Amazon for about $10 and it adds wireless charging to your existing phone.
And what is that called?
This is just called a Qi wireless receiver.
Sheet.
Yeah, wireless charging receiver, Lightning.
They break very fast.
Yeah, this one doesn't seem to work anymore.
I'm just
Oh, I know.
garbage.
So that's why, here's the problem though. They didn't make, so you see this one for the 6 Plus? You see the camera on the 7 Plus is much bigger? I'll tell you a true story. I wanted to cut this one. I wanted to cut it and I wanted to make it because they didn't put it until after, so I used one of my favorite things to use when I want to do something technical. I go down, I talk to Chief Security, and I ask him if I could pass it through his x-ray machine and see what's inside of it. You know the thing when you go on the ship, whenever I want to do, so he said, yeah, you can use the x-ray machine. I had someone who brought an iPad once. They bought an iPad in Kusadasi. You know Kusadasi, Turkey? Any you ever been there?
Yes.
They didn't believe me that the iPad wasn't real. So we took it down and we found 2 lead plates inside of the iPad when we x-rayed it. So, like, there's no way this iPad's, so I took it, I x-rayed it, and I found out there's some circuitry right here, so I couldn't actually, I have the tools on board to actually cut it, but I couldn't actually cut it right there. So I had to wait till the new case came out, but they just put it out. They have it for the 7, they have it for the 7 Plus. This will give you an extra charge worth of battery life on your phone. I mean, my phone's been off the charger since 9 o'clock this morning, and it's still at 100%. And you got to realize I used it projecting on the screen in Celebrity Central. I used it a bit this morning. I used it to do a whole bunch of different things, and it's still at 100% here. And if I leave it right on that little dock right there, it'll charge up. It's called Qi wireless charging. There are rumors that the next iPhone is going to have that pre-built in. There's something called the WPC, or the Wireless Power Consortium, which the companies that make wireless charging have all gone into. and Apple just joined the wireless charging consortium a week ago. So
So,
the only problem is that the back needs to be either plastic or glass.
what about the front?
No, you're not going to do the front. The back needs to be plastic or glass. So what does that mean? Future iPhones will probably have not plastic
Glass.
backs, they'll have glass backs. So you're going to have glass on the front and glass on the back. Now, speaking of glass, that goes to our next thing, screen protectors. How many of you have a screen protector of some sort on your device? Is it plastic or is it glass?
Plastic.
Both.
I got the fan double.
It's doubled. Oh, okay. You've got glass with the plastic over it. Okay. So, if you have a glass screen protector, I have a glass screen protector right here, and this is something I did last cruise. When I finish my classes at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I take my phone, I throw it on my bed in my cabin. My bed is like a pile, and my sofa is like a pile. Everybody goes, I want to go down to your store. It's just a pile on my sofa. It's a pile next to my sofa. It's a pile on my bed downstairs. But I took my laptop, I took my phone, I threw it on the bed, I took my laptop, I threw it on the bed, and the laptop hit the side of the phone screen. The phone didn't shatter though. The screen protector broke. But here's what I want you to understand. I'm going to put this on the screen so you can see it. All it did was a little nick right there in the corner. You see that little nick right there? Don't pay attention to all the webbing and everything like that. But you notice where all the breakage comes from? It comes from around that little nick. As soon as you nick a glass screen protector, it needs to be replaced immediately. Because as soon as there is a slight bit of structural integrity gone, the next time something goes against that, it's going to break your real screen. In my 11 years with smartphones, I've broken one screen ever. And it was because I was going up to the helipad on the front of the ship. Someone had spilled some champagne on the helipad. I almost broke myself. My phone fell out of my top pocket, and I didn't have a glass screen protector on, and it shattered. When you buy glass screen protectors, here's my advice for you. Never buy them from a store. Always buy them from Amazon. Because for less than a quarter of the price you can buy them in the store, they'll sell you a 3-pack on Amazon. So you pay 25% of the price and you get 3 of them. There is no difference between a normal screen protector and a Zag screen protector and this screen protector and that screen protector. There's really no difference. One of my absolute favorites, I watch all these crazy YouTube videos. There was a YouTube video on the Zag Ultimate Screen Protector, which said it had a combination of glass and plastic. It was a $60 screen protector, and it was just a piece of plastic. It was called what was the name of the brand I was saying? Zag. It's called the Zag Sapphire Glass Screen Protector. There was not a bit of sapphire or a bit of glass in the screen protector. You can just buy a glass screen protector 3-pack on Amazon. Now, here's the question. How do you put them on? Because you can never get them on without bubbles. And I'm going to tell you the secret to putting on screen protectors. Do it in the bathroom. Now, follow me here. Turn your shower as hot as it can go for about 3 or 4 minutes. Fog up the bathroom. It only takes 30 seconds in the bathrooms the size we have on board, but turn the shower, unless you're in a suite, then maybe your bathroom takes a little bit longer. It takes 10 seconds with my shower on, and I fogged up the whole bathroom. And then turn it off. What it is you're going to have moisture in the air, so all of the dust particles fall to the ground. So you won't get any dust on your screen if you install it in the bathroom. So you install it in the bathroom, you kind of hot box the bathroom, make the bathroom nice and warm, turn it off. Put on the screen protector, you won't get any dust because dust can't survive in that sort of environment in the air. It's going to go down. It's pretty cool. Remember, if you have glass and you nick it, you chip it, you do anything to it, it needs to be replaced right away because then the structural integrity of it's gone. That was just a little nick. And then I intentionally, when I took it off of my phone, it cracked and shattered. So I actually have 2 more screen protectors for my iPhone and 1 more screen protector for my Android in my cabin. And you want to make sure you have a screen protector because how many of you have broken a screen before? Let's be honest.
Never.
You've broken a screen before. Yeah. Some of us don't want to admit it, but a lot of one of the big paramount things you'll see is people with broken screens. You want to put on a glass screen protector. Please just buy it on Amazon. Don't get yourself ripped off. Okay. Next thing on the sheet. When to charge. Good question. Who said down to 0? Because that's wrong.
All
Oh,
the time.
all the time? Okay. Here's what I want you to understand. Okay. I need you to understand that basically if the battery life on a phone goes from 0 to 100, right? We understand that it's a numerical number. Every time you go 100 units, it counts as one cycle. So, one cycle is either going from 0 to 100 once, or 90 to 100 10 times. Does that make sense? It has the same usage on the battery. These batteries are designed for about 500 cycles before they hit what's called their half-life. So once you've taken this battery to 500 cycles, your battery will last for half as long as it normally did. And then your next half-life comes at 250 cycles. But understand, a cycle is 100 points in any way, shape, or form. So 0 to 100 is one cycle, 50 to 100 twice is one cycle. Makes pretty good sense there. So when to charge is essentially whenever you want, as long as you understand cycles. So you understand cycles, we're okay. So if you're leaving the house, you're going in the car, you got a charger in the car, you get between when you leave the house and you go to the car, your phone goes down 5%, let's say. You're at 95%. There's no danger to topping it up to 100%. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to leave it plugged in for months at a time, as we talked about in this morning's class, but that's probably not going to happen with a phone. But like if you have an iPad, let's talk for a minute, and you leave an iPad in a house that you stay at for the winter, you don't want to leave that iPad plugged in for 6 months. Just a little heads up. But also, flip side. This is when to charge. Let's change it to when to discharge. You should never leave your device not charged for more than a month, because that's going to kill the battery. If you have an iPad that you never use, if you ever notice, if you have a second house you go to or whatever, the batteries in the remote are always dead when you go back there, because if batteries aren't used, they stay dormant and they lose their charge. So I have solar panels on the roof of the house, and I have a car battery that I have hooked up, and I always disconnect the car battery before I leave, and then when I come back, it's dead because I never charged the car battery, and I have to go out and I have to buy more electrolyte. You can't do that with a phone. So you always want to make sure if you're going to have it for an extended period of time, you charge it up before. You never want to leave the battery dead. Now, do you ever fully kill the battery? You can. Not a big deal. It's not going to do you much, because here's the thing to know. On the phones, it just shows you a percentage. It doesn't show you a time. On a laptop, every month or so, you want to fully kill the battery and charge it back up, because that's how it estimates how much time you have left. So that's how it knows what's going on. But the phones just show you a percentage of the battery, and it is okay. So when to charge, and here comes the big elephant in the room, what to charge with. What do I mean by that?
Certified Apple product.
I don't mean certified Apple products.
You mean Chinese products?
No. Here's the simple answer. You can charge an iPhone with an iPad charger. So you can take your iPad charger and you can charge your iPhone with your iPad charger. You can and you can also charge your iPad with your iPhone charger. But here's the thing: the iPhone 7 Plus or the iPhone 6 Plus charges 2 times as fast with an iPad charger. So you can charge it. And the weird thing is, I wish that when they shipped the Plus, they were shipping out the iPad charger with it.
They don't want to make it too big.
They don't want to make it too big. It's all about the size of the box and different things like that. If you notice, I don't know if any of you saw any iPads in stores the other day, if you were in St. Martin. You notice the boxes on iPads are a lot bigger because they have a different adapter in the box. If you go over to the UK, you'll notice the boxes are bigger because they have a different adapter in the box, different than the American and the Canadian adapter. Australia, I think you have a different plug, correct? So your iPad box, can I borrow your iPad box for a second? You bought an iPad in Australia before, right?
Yep.
It's quite a bit thicker than that, right? It's about that thick, the box, and that's based on the size of the charger. The phones, they try and keep all the chargers about the same size so they can use the same box for all the phones. That's the basic knowledge there. So you can charge with any charger. Now on the ship, as you know, in your cabin you have a copious number of plugs, and you have more plugs than you would ever need in your cabin, right?
Maybe in your cabin, but not in another.
Where? So let me show you this guy. This is the simplest one. This is from a company called Anchor. It's one of the simplest gadgets you can get. This is from a company called Anchor, and this is called the Anchor 40-watt 5-port turbo USB power adapter. I didn't write that there because I didn't know I was bringing this. Anchor 40-watt 5-port
ANKER.
ANKER.
I have a simpler one.
Yeah,
It just plugs in.
USB power
It
adapter.
doesn't have a cord, just
Yeah.
plugs in.
Here's the thing I like about the one with the cord, though. You can switch the cord for different countries you're going to.
Oh,
The one that just plugs in, you can't do. But here's the cool thing. I plug this into the wall. I have 5 iPad chargers.
I have 4. Oh,
Why I
iPad.
say iPad
iPad.
chargers, these will all charge at 2.4 amps. So these are all 5 iPad chargers. Yours, probably 1 or 2 of the
think
ports
so.
are at iPhone charger speed. Yeah.
Margie just bought me one that charges my watch
Uh-huh.
on the front and then has all the other.
Does it have the puck built in, or you have to put the puck in yourself? The Apple Watch puck. Does it have a puck built in, or you have to buy the puck and
No.
reel it in?
It's built in.
Oh, okay.
Built in,
You have it on the ship?
Yeah.
yeah.
Bring it tomorrow. Let's take a look at it tomorrow. I'm not familiar with that one. But this is cool. This is from Anchor. This is my original. I now have some crazier ones downstairs. I have one that has 7. I have one that has 8. But all we should really need is 5. That should cover all of us. And why I like this one is you can pull this plug out, and you can put in a European plug. You can put in an Australian plug. You can put in any type
You
of
know, there's a
plug.
little adapter on the end too.
Yeah, you can, but I don't trust adapters. I don't trust adapters.
Can you go back for 1 second?
Yep.
When you said when to charge, did you say let your iPads go down to 0? And when
No,
to-
I never
oh,
said that. I said
okay, what did you say?
laptops once a month.
Laptops.
Laptops, because that's
Go
how
all
it
the way down to
estimates.
ze-
That's how it estimates the amount of battery time you have
Laptop
remaining.
down to 0?
Laptops down to
Down
0
to-
once a month or so.
Okay.
Once a month or so, you want to kill out a laptop. It's not necessary on the phones because they just give you a percentage. Now, you said something in the back. My friend said, we were talking about what chargers use. He said the Apple certified ones. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you the honest truth. Apple certification is just a layer that makes something cost more. Okay? Check the Amazon ratings. That's what I tell people. Check the Amazon ratings. I like the Apple certification. I understand the Apple certification. I understand all of that stuff with the Apple certification. Anchor technically has the Apple certification. They don't have it for every single one of their products. It costs a lot of money to slap the logo made for iPhone on the side of your device. Don't use the cheap Chinese chargers that you don't know where they came from and you bought for $1 at the flea market. Buy from reputable brands. Anchor is something you've probably never heard of before, but they make a lot of really cool things. This is one of their cool things they make that plugs into the wall. This is something I've been using the whole time. This is a battery pack. This thing has more battery in it than a laptop. So this can actually charge my MacBook Pro from Anchor. It's the same thing. It's an Anchor battery pack. If you want to see some cool stuff, just go on Amazon, type in ANKER. They exclusively sell on Amazon, and they just, as of like a week before I left home, started selling in Walmart. So Anchor,
One more time.
ANKER,
Okay.
ANKER. It's actually a little bit lower. I think I put it, Anchor battery pack. Oh, that was the next thing. Wonderful. It's almost like I know where I was heading. Yeah.
So that's just an anchor charge.
This is just an Anchor charger. This is an Anchor battery pack. And this battery pack, so this has 3 USB ports on it. Why I like this one is it has 2 USB ports and a USB Type-C port. So it has 2 USB ports and a USB Type-C port. The nice thing that's coming out is very soon everything's going to be USB Type-C. So I'm getting a video game console on Sunday that I'm excited about because it's got some interesting video games that I like on it. But here's the cool thing. I can charge it with my MacBook Pro charger because it's USB Type-C. So I can charge it with my MacBook Pro charger. I can charge my projector with my MacBook Pro charger. The only thing I own that I need a different charger for right now is my iPhone. Everything else charges USB Type-C. All of my other phones, everything else is USB-C except for my iPhone. And I'm hoping, all of you are dreading it, but I am hoping that they go to USB Type-C on the next iPhone because I want to be able to just pull the charger out of my laptop, put it in my phone.
But use wireless charging. So you
I know. But sometimes you're places that don't have wireless charging and I've got to bring a battery pack with me and different things like that. Now, the next thing on the list is something called low power mode. This is only on phones. Now we're going to your devices. So we're going to go to your devices here. Let me pull up so I see what's going on. So we've talked about some accessories. Now I think for the rest of today, we're going to be on your, we're going to be on your devices for the rest of the day. So, I want you to go to settings. Yep, we're going to go to settings. And we're going to go to where it says battery. Settings and then battery. Whoop. And there should be something in settings and battery called low power mode. Do you see that?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to read to you what it says in nerdy terms, and then I'm going to explain to you what it means in English. Low power mode temporarily reduces the power consumption until you can fully charge your iPhone. When this is on, mail fetch, hey Sudi, I don't want to say it because it's going to make all our phones go off. Hey Sudi, background app refresh, automatic downloads, and some visual effects are reduced or turned off. Now, let's translate. Mail fetch. You know how your mail comes in as you get it? It'll pop up on your screen and say, you got a new email, you got it, and it's annoying, and you get ads. We're gonna fix that tomorrow with Gmail. I'll explain that. But what happens is, your mail will, if you have on low power mode, your mail will only come in when you go to the mail app and pull it down. That's what that means. It's going to turn off that push mail. You have to go in. Hey Sudi, it means hey Siri, is not going to work. So that is turned off when you're in low power mode. Background app refresh. It means things won't refresh in the background. I think that's simple. Automatic downloads. Your apps won't update automatically in the background. You won't get new episodes of TV shows and stuff like that. And some visual effects. Now, watch my screen real quick. Do you see? Oh, no, I actually already have it set up. We'll get to the visual effects stuff a little bit later on because I'm going to show you something that I've already turned off. Go ahead and turn on low power mode on your device. Nothing dangerous is going to happen. The only thing you will notice is that your battery turns yellow.
Yep.
If you look up in the corner, our battery has turned yellow, hasn't it?
Yes.
That's how we know it's in low power mode. She says it's jaundiced. Okay. Not as bad as sweatpants. That's all I'm going to say. That was great.
Yoga pants.
Yoga pants. Sorry. But if I turn on low...
Copyright that?
What?
Should
You should copyright that. That was good. But we got low power mode on, and it's going to make sure that... So what low power mode essentially does is it takes your phone and it slows it down by a year. What do I mean by that? When you turn on low power mode, an iPhone 7 runs at the speed of an iPhone 6S. An iPhone 6S runs at the speed of an iPhone 6. And it edges out a little more battery. So if you turn on low power mode, you'll get about 10 to 15% more battery usage out. But you do hurt your experience a little, if that makes sense. You hurt your experience a little there. But that is low power mode in a nutshell. But while we're there, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see where it says battery usage. Last 24 hours and last 7 days. I'm going to turn it sideways so we can all see what's going on. We should all see that in there. We got it? Anybody not have a phone? I have an extra phone. That's what I'm offering.
I'll take the battery back.
You need a battery pack? Unfortunately, I only have the battery pack for the iPhone 6S. It won't fit your
It'll
7.
fit mine.
24
Oh.
and 7 days.
Oh, she's got. Let me see back to your phone. You have that. Oh, we're gonna talk about that. I have one of those too. That's for tomorrow, maybe. Or we might talk about it today. I went into battery. She's got a pop socket. Don't worry, we'll get there. She got a pop socket. So we're gonna go to settings. We're gonna go into battery, and we'll scroll down to where it says battery usage, and it's gonna show me what I used my battery for in both the last 24 hours and the last 7 days. So you'll see in the last 24 hours, I used a lot of battery on Facebook. Last night when I went to the gym, I watched a special on BBC America. And you can see all of these things, the camera, and all these things like that. But if I go to the last 7 days, I can get a better perspective. 22% of my time I've been on my phone the last 7 days has been using the camera, 13% Facebook. One of the best ways to get a 20% increase in your battery life is to uninstall Facebook.
No.
I'm just making a statement.
No
I'm not
problem,
saying
but how
you
do
do
you
it.
get rid of it?
No, I'm not telling you to stop using Facebook. I'm
No,
just saying.
I'd like to know how, like, I'd love to get off it totally.
Why? It's fantastic.
Oh, I hate it.
Well,
You don't have to use it.
to each
Well,
their
you know
own.
what- You know what people say on Facebook? I really don't care.
Neither do I. I just use Facebook Messenger, but that's a story for another day.
Okay.
But here's what's also cool. You may see a little clock next to that. If you click on that little clock, it's going to give you more information about how much it was actually on the screen and how much it was in the background. So you can see all of this information. Now, I've got a question for you. Do any of you see home and lock screen as a very high one there?
That's, the 10%.
Yeah?
24.
24%? Yeah. So
I'm
you
for it.
have home and lock screen. What?
4%.
40%?
7.
7? That's okay.
I got 10.
You'll notice that mine is pretty high. My home and lock screen is pretty, well, no, it's not that bad. But when I get in and I start doing the classes and stuff, if you were to look at my home and lock screen tomorrow, you'll see, because I'm on my home and lock screen a lot of the day today, just kind of sitting there in the different apps and stuff like that. So if I go in, I can see what's going on, but I want to get that gone for everybody. So do we understand, number one, what low power mode does? We should all have a battery percentage showing in the side of our devices. And then we can also see what's going on here, and you'll see that there's some battery life suggestions for me, which is where we're going right now. It's telling me enable auto lock.
Everybody, I don't
You're
know
not going to see that. If you might not see that. I'm just
Okay.
letting you know. Mine is suggesting that I both enable auto lock and reduce the brightness. So we're going to talk about display brightness and auto lock when we talk into screen brightness. So we should be able to go to where it says, we're going to click back one into normal settings, and we're going to go to display and brightness in the settings. Now, I've got a question for you. This is a loaded question. I don't know how many of us would possibly know the answer to this. How do I make my iPhone the brightest it can possibly be?
Get rid of auto brightness and flip it
No.
on.
So if I were to jack it all the way up to here, is that the brightest my phone gets?
I would think.
So here's the cool thing. This is the phone. If you look, this is the phone on like a 1, and this is the phone on a 10 in brightness. But much like the rock metal bands, Apple has enabled you to be able to turn your brightness up to 11. But you can't manually turn your brightness up to 11. When you go outside, it will turn your brightness up to 11 automatically. So when it detects too much light, I'll see if I can force it to do it. It actually gets even brighter than it normally is if it's got too much light. So there's a brightness setting above the highest brightness setting, but you can't set it there. Does that make you
Will
can't?
it go brighter even if you don't have it on the brightest when you go outside?
Yes, if you have it on auto brightness, it'll go brighter when you have it on there outside. It's also used, I'll show you one more thing that's kind of interesting. When you're taking a picture and you're taking a selfie, we know we're not supposed to do this, but if I'm taking a selfie, I have to, why is that not playing for me? Let's try that selfie again. Is it actually flashes brighter to take, the only way you can really see the 11 is if you take a selfie, it uses the screen as a flash. That's actually flashing brighter. The right answer, yeah?
By putting it on a higher brightness, does it eat more?
It does eat more battery, but we want to leave it on auto brightness. That's the place we want to leave it on. So you want to leave it on auto brightness and it'll get a good job, but I want to talk about something that should be, no, it's not in bright. Yeah, auto lock. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Does anybody have it set above 2 minutes? I'm sure someone does. You have it set above 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Mine is set at
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Yours is set pretty high,
It
right?
won't allow me to change it.
Aha! So, some of you, it won't allow you to change it. Here's why. It's because you're still in low power mode. So if you were to turn off low power mode,
Smart ass.
it automatically sets it to 30 seconds. Take off your low power mode and go back. Because those of you that had home and lock screen at a very high percentage probably have the timeout set to like 5 minutes. Correct?
Not there yet. I can't
Not
feel
yet.
the brightness.
So you have it set to that.
Okay, now it's still a lot.
I am the only person in this room who should have auto lock set to never.
Mine's only 5 minutes.
But 5 minutes is a long time. You're better off setting it to 2 minutes. 5 minutes means if I were to take my phone and sit it down, the screen wouldn't go on for 5 minutes. Now, a lot of us, our battery on our phone lasts us all day-ish. I say all day-ish. But there's a very interesting term in phones, and it's not used in iPhones a lot. It's generally used in Android phones, because you can track it on Android phones. It's called SOT, or screen on time. So Apple will never tell you the SOT on their devices. They'll tell you, oh, you can use your iPhone to last you all day. It'll last you for 16 hours of calling and different things like that. But that doesn't tell you how much SOT, or screen on time, you have. When you set your auto lock to 5 minutes, if you put your phone down and you don't lock the screen, you're getting 5 minutes of SOT. Throughout the day, with a normal phone in a normal situation, you have about 3 hours of SOT before you kill the battery life.
Unless you lock it yourself.
Unless you lock it yourself. If you always remember to lock it yourself, or if you have an iPad, you know, it locks it when you close the cover, but your screen on time is important, so you should never have your auto lock set to more than 2 minutes. I set mine to never because I do a class and that's how I do it. So that's the concept there. Never set your auto lock to more than 2 minutes or so. Now, yep.
So is 30 seconds better than 1 minute? You're saying you get more?
30 seconds, 1 minute. Yeah, I mean, 30 seconds is okay. It just means
It
if
went automatically to 1 minute when I turned the low battery on.
right, because 30 seconds when you turn on low battery, it goes to 30 seconds. So it goes to low battery. Okay, so next thing, sleep versus shut down. Never shut your device down. There's no need to shut your device down. The only reason I shut my device down, I'm going to tell you why I shut my device down. Whenever I go through immigration in any country, I always shut my device down.
You mean turn it completely
Turn
off?
it completely off.
Because they want you to turn it on.
No, because when you turn on your device for the first time, when you turn it on, your fingerprint doesn't work to unlock it.
Right.
Oh, that's right, you gotta put your number in. Yeah, yeah.
So it has been decided in the United States and in some other countries that immigration officers can force you to put your finger on your phone to unlock it. Yes, this is the honest truth. You can look at the court cases. They have decided that they can force you, it is within their jurisdiction to force you to put your finger to unlock it, but it impedes on your Fifth Amendment rights for self-incrimination to have to give up your 4-digit code
No God.
or your 6-digit code. So it's actually very interesting. I'll tell you how cool this is. If you turn off the phone, the reason it asks you for the code is because they know that happens. Also, it generally takes about 48 hours in most jurisdictions, unless there's like a terrorist attack or something. It takes about 48 hours for a normal person to get a thing from a judge when you're not in immigration, but when you have to get a subpoena from a judge, for them to tell you to put your finger there. That's why if you don't touch your device for 48 hours, it asks for your code. Because you can never be forced to give your code up. In most countries. Let me make a statement there. In most countries. So I turn it off when I go through immigration, but elsewise I just leave my phone on sleep mode. It actually costs more battery. What do I mean costs more battery? It costs more battery life to turn it off and turn it back on than to just leave it to sleep for a few hours. One thing, if you ever do want to turn your device off and you want to charge it at the same time, you need to plug it in and then turn it off. Don't turn it off and then plug it in,
Because it'll start up.
because it'll start up on its own.
I know that.
You know that. So remember, if you want to charge it faster, per se, here's a quick charging tip. If you need to charge your iPhone very, very fast, throw it in airplane mode
Yes.
and then charge it.
Really?
Throw it in airplane mode.
Yeah.
The thing that eats more battery than anything else is the cell service. It's the cell service. Throw it in airplane mode. It's fine. When I have my iPhone in airplane mode and I'm not teaching classes or doing anything like that, it'll last, even if I didn't have a battery case. As I'm just using Wi-Fi on a C day, if I wasn't teaching classes, I'd still have 80% by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The thing that kills more battery life on the iPhone than anything is the phone.
That's why my phone's charging like crazy on the boat.
Yes, because it says no service, right?
Right.
So when your phone doesn't have service, it goes into crazy mode looking for service.
Wow.
So no service is the worst thing. Now, when you were looking at your battery life thing, did anything say no cell service? Did you see that possibly?
I just left. I've been on airplane mode.
Okay,
except-
yeah. So
Except when I've gone on.
yeah. So when you've gone on the cell service, it likes to connect. So your phone is very happy when it connects to your phone carrier at 4 or 5 bars. When it gets to 3 bars, it goes in panic mode trying to get 4 or 5 bars, those little dots.
Wow.
So that's the thing that eats more battery life than anything. So you don't want to reboot, but if something's acting up and if you get a software update, here's the thing, you only need to reboot about once a month. Once every other month.
What's the total reboot? I've seen so many where you hold it too long.
No, total reboot is just hold the button. We're gonna get somewhere there in a minute and just slide the power off, let it go off, and then turn it back on. When you hold the buttons, it's not technically a reboot. And we're gonna talk about holding the buttons in a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's a hard reboot. That's not really a reboot. A reboot means turning all the way off and then turning all the way back on. That's what a reboot is. There's
Sometimes keep my phone off for a week.
That's fine. Off for a week?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Because I don't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Else I shut it off.
I can't keep my phone off for more than about 3 minutes.
Well, I'm not an-
I'm addicted. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not an
It's
addict.
okay. It's okay. I have
There
a
is
problem.
12-step
And I
program.
don't like
you
that.
can-
Yeah.
Now,
It's
when
about
you
your
say,
thumbprint.
Yep.
I put my thumbprint in, and it works like the first day.
Okay, so
And it never works.
we're headed there. It's one of the last Touch ID tricks. We're talking about thumbprint.
Okay.
When you
So-
say sleep.
So let me, sleep is the little, this is sleep, just when the screen is off. Now, just so you know, what we're talking about, to reboot. You don't really have to ever reboot, because what's going to happen is every month or so you'll get a software update on your phone. And when it does that software update, it's going to reboot. So Apple actually, dirty secret, sends a software update, essentially just to reboot the phone sometimes. Because the phones start acting a little slow, and they send the software update, because that's the only time people generally reboot the phones. So all Apple devices get the software updates on the same day. Now, closing apps. Let's talk about a misnomer. Yeah.
When Apple sends an update, my iPhone automatically gets it,
That's fine.
updates and everything, but my iPad doesn't.
It's because you might not have it set to auto update. We'll get there.
That's good to
We'll
know.
get there.
Okay.
Okay. So how many of you have done what I'm about to do before? Just watch my screen. I'm sure you've done this. You go flip, flip,
Yeah.
flip,
Yeah.
flip, 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 flip. Don't.
What?
It's a lie.
No.
It's a lie. Now here's the thing. Everyone you've ever talked to about Apple before works in the Apple retail channel, works in the stores, works in all that. They are not a developer. They don't build apps. I build apps. I do app consulting. I build apps. As weird as this sounds, people think that what I'm about to say is crazy. This is my vacation, doing this. I generally, when I'm on vacation, is when I'm really working. I build apps and do all that. This is relaxing to me. This is like I get to go on a cruise. I teach a couple classes, send a couple emails, and it's okay. Nobody really bothers me too much. So I develop apps when I'm at home. I don't develop apps for the App Store. I develop apps in corporate reasons. And one of the worst things you can do is close out apps, because when you close them out, it means when you reopen them, it's going to take significantly longer for them to reopen. And it's not going to reopen at the same place that you closed it. So when apps go into the background, they're just sitting there in the background ready to be reopened. So I'll give you an example. Let me open up my messages. Let me see if I can have a message that's appropriate. So
I like those.
I got a message from my dad. Now you'll see that I got the message from my dad. If I were to close this, though, next time I open it, I still have my message from my dad, because that's an Apple app. Hold on, let me close an app that's not an Apple app. Connect Drive. So you notice that that was back at the place it was during the 1 o'clock class. So it goes back to the same place. So if you're in an app, or if you're a game, or you're anything, it's going to go back to the same place. It costs more battery life for it to go back to that place in the app than to just stay running in the background. Does that
Right.
make?
I've had
Okay, we're getting there.
situations- Okay.
But Vince has had situations where an app acts up and he needs to get rid of the app because it's
Not
being
necessarily
stupid.
acting up, but if you try to do something and you can't, you close a bunch of apps and
Yeah.
then you can do it again.
We're going to get to that clearing the RAM. That's the next thing on here. But here's the thing. There really is no need to go about doing this. There's really, it doesn't do anything. It makes you feel good.
What about web pages?
Web pages, again, here's the thing. It's pretty solid. It's pretty stable.
So you can leave them running?
You can
like
leave them
I could
running.
have 500 web pages.
That's fine. Here's the thing. Does it slow down your device?
I don't know.
Does it use more
I was told it
Feels
did.
like you left things all on the
500.
floor.
It feels like you left things all on the floor. You can do this if you want to, but there's really no need. Don't waste your time.
Any more battery.
Doesn't use any more battery, doesn't use any more
Battery.
RAM, doesn't. So the only apps that can stay in the background for more than 10 minutes, active, are apps made by Apple. So if you're downloading an app in the App Store, that can stay active for more than 10 minutes. I'll give you an example. Google Photos will upload your pictures much faster if you leave Google Photos open. So if you plug into the charger, and just when I come back from a trip and I have 300 pictures, if I just leave it open, if I take it like this, I'll tell you exactly what I do. I open my Google Photos, and I just put it on that charger. I set my screen timeout to none, and it'll upload my pictures a lot faster when it's in the
So
foreground.
when it goes automatic, that's.
So what if you set your screen
Yeah,
to
what?
two?
I could, okay, please don't do this all the time. But when you go home, if you want to upload things quicker from Google Photos, set your screen timeout to never, plug your phone into the charger, and have Google Photos open. It's
Oh,
gonna
so your screen never
upload.
shuts down.
Right, just to do that initial update. The rest will happen in the background, no problem. Whenever,
But that could take as much as you told me 5-6 days.
correct, but here's the thing. That 5-6 days is quoted with the app working in the background. When it works in the foreground, it'll work a lot faster.
Oh.
So I'm
Okay.
saying if you can leave it overnight with the screen on, plugged in, because you don't want to wake up to a dead iPhone the next morning. If you can leave it overnight with the screen on, plugged in, you're okay there, and that's how I would go about doing it. Now, What if your device is crapping up and slowing down and doing the different things like that? This is a Band-Aid. This is not fixing anything. This is a Band-Aid. So the way to go about actually doing it, I want you to go where you can turn your phone off. So you press the button. I want you to be on this screen. Phone or tablet, this screen. Don't turn it off. Just go to this screen. I only learned this about 6 months ago. There is a way to clear the RAM on your phone. When you are on this screen, if you hold down the home button on the front for about 8 seconds, don't press it, just hold it down.
What do you mean don't press it?
You have to
Press it, don't press it and release it, just hold it down. And it's going to bounce back to the main screen. That has cleared your RAM.
What'd you do again? Hold it?
Just hold it. It's going to look like it's done nothing. I will get to you why you got Siri. I know why you got Siri. We hold it down. It's going to look like nothing happened. It's going to go back to the main screen after about 8 seconds.
You did this already?
That has cleared the RAM on your phone. Okay, let me tell you why you got Siri. Because, watch my screen real quick, you need to do this when you're actually in your phone. If you do it from the lock screen, you're going to get Siri. You need to go in, be on the app screen, and do it here. The reason you got Siri is because you did it on the lock screen. So,
I thought that's what you said.
no, watch, no. What I mean by this, watch this, there's two differences.
On this screen.
Yeah, so if you're on this screen, and you go to this screen, it's going to ask you for Siri. To do this, you need to be inside where your apps are, and then do that.
That's only if you have Siri turned on while on lock screen.
Yeah, it's there.
Swipe bars.
Hold on. Go in first. Put your fingerprint in. Now do it. You can't do it from the lock screen. Do it from here.
Hold it down.
It's okay. Now you do it. You want to do it when
Press
you're
this and hold it.
when you're here.
Hold it
Now
down.
you do it.
Hold
You
it
can't
down
do it when
until
the
it's
screen's
back.
locked and shows the time. Now you press it. Now you hold the home
And
button.
what does that do, Richard?
What does that do? That clears the RAM on your
This
device.
allows you what?
So, here's the simple answer. This is something Apple is never going to tell you. This is
But
something
Richard will.
no one in the Apple store is ever going to tell you.
No, wait, hold on.
You notice that when I keep pushing a phone, what iPhone do I tell you to get?
7S Plus.
The 7 Plus. Do you ever hear me even mention the 7? I'm sorry, 7 people. Here's the secret.
Battery.
The 7 Plus has an extra gig of RAM inside of it that's used for the double camera. The 6S Plus and all the pluses have an extra gig of RAM inside. If you go to the Apple store, they're never going to tell you that.
Also bigger, right?
They don't tell you what RAM is in it.
They're not going to tell you. Yeah, because the
Never.
7, no, the 7 has 2 gigs of RAM. The 7 Plus has 3 gigs of RAM. The 6 and the 6S have 1 gig of RAM. The 6 Plus and the 6S Plus have 2 gigs of RAM. It's because they could shove in a bigger battery. This clears out your RAM. It makes the device act a lot faster, which is what's really, really
How
cool.
often should that be done?
Only when it's crapping up. So, every week or two. Honestly, I'm going to tell you the
No, I
only...
don't understand what crapping up, because I think everything in my iPhone.
So here's the thing. How often should that be done? I'll tell you, the last time I did it was 14 days ago in this class.
Okay.
Because of the
So,
class.
because of the class. I don't do it too often because here's the thing. A 7 Plus has more power than you'll ever need. It's much more useful in some of the older phones running newer software. 7 Plus has more power than you'll ever need. When, say, the 9 comes out and the 7 Plus starts slowing down a bit, then you can use that.
So just make sure you buy the new one every time it
Yeah,
comes
just
out.
get the new one every year.
Get your
Yeah.
kids to do it.
Stockholder likes that.
No. Get
Now-
your kids to buy it.
He has some very generous children. That's what I've learned. Okay.
I was just thinking they adopt me. Can I
So
adopt
let's
them?
talk.
And then they'll
Let's
do
talk
it.
about the W1. You've probably never heard of the W1. Let me grab something big and ugly over here. I think I got it. Let's grab it here. Can I borrow? I need to borrow someone's phone that's already connected to the iLearn network.
Here it is.
Right here.
I'm gonna steal his phone. I'm gonna go with his phone because I know it's fully up to date because it's an iPhone 7 and it'll work with this. Okay. So how many of you have ever hooked up a Bluetooth device before? Hooking up a Bluetooth device is a pain in the butt, in my opinion. Let me put on the TV, 4490. The reason I'm going with a new device here is because I want to show you how this actually works. So we're going to talk about hooking up a Bluetooth device. If I go to settings, and then I go to Bluetooth, I've got this big ugly speaker. This does not have W1. We're going to talk about W1 in a minute, but I want to show you the existing problem before I show you the solution. I'm going to go to put this in pairing mode. Doing, 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 doing. Doing, 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 doing. Okay, this is called the JBL Extreme. And I go there, and I have to pair it. And every time I turn this device on, I have to go back, I have to pair it, I have to do all of that.
Sorry, you what?
I have to pair it.
Once it's paired, once.
Well, here's the problem. I have a lot of Bluetooth devices, and he's got once it's paired once.
I got 14.
Yeah, it's a little messy. It's a little messy. I want to show you the W1 chip. Let me show you the difference before you go once it's paired once, because once you see this, you will never buy. It's also a reason why I hate that I have all these headphones and speakers that don't have this W1 chip. We're getting these on pretty soon, but watch this. These are called AirPods. This is...
Yeah, nice try.
What do you mean?
$279.
No,
So $150.
$150.
No,
Where?
$250.
Oh no, that's US.
$250.
What's Canadian? I'm not familiar with them.
$279 Canadian.
No, $250.
270 is not the price of it. Here's the thing.
But I was trying to buy them.
Yeah, not from Apple. You're buying them from a third party. They're hard to get your... So right now, they're hard to get your hands on from Apple. I'm going to show you, there's actually 4 devices with the W1 chip. I want to show you how the W1 chip works, and then I'll show you the 4 different devices that work with it because I brought all 4 with me. Instead of going into Bluetooth settings, instead of doing all that, all I have to do is put this guy right next to this guy, flip the lid open. Come on, don't shame me. It's because, there we go, boom. Not your AirPods, of course. And I can hit connect. I never went into Bluetooth settings. I never went into anything. And now I've pressed and held the back button, and now these AirPods are connected.
But then they stay with the phone.
Watch this thing.
No.
No, they don't stay with the phone. So you'll see that the pods are at 100%, and the case is at 50%. And the pods will last for 5 hours on their own, and the case can recharge the pods 5 times. Case just recharges with a lightning connector. The thing is, there are very inflated prices on these right now because this is one of the highest. This is probably the coolest thing Apple's put out since the iPhone, in my opinion. Now, there's a couple of different options I'm going to show you. These are the AirPods. They're the world's first truly wireless headphones. So they're actually truly, honestly wireless, and you look like a moron when you're wearing them.
No, they look like nice earrings.
They look like nice earrings, and if you have those weird holes in your ear, you can actually use them as a. But the nice thing is they won't fall out. And the only reason I got these is I knew that the Apple stores would have at least 1 case of them, every Apple store, the day they came out. So I went there and I bought 8 of them. So I bought 8 of them, and the actual standard price on them is $159 US or like $179 Canadian. You're seeing the inflated price because that's what the market wants for them now. But if you were to buy them at retail price, and what's great is, as I told you earlier today, most of my bosses on board are Apple people. So who do you think all got AirPods at the normal retail price? That's why everyone leaves Richard alone.
I was gonna say, you're kissing everybody's ass.
No, I'm just acquiring things that'd be a little more difficult to acquire.
Professional development.
Professional development. I love that. Let me pass that back to you. But here's the cool thing. Not only is it paired with that iPhone, but it's automatically paired with his iPad, his Mac, everything, because it pairs over iCloud. So if I'm listening to something on your iPhone, and I bring these close to your Mac, and I put them in and I hit play on the Mac, it'll start playing it on the Mac. If I'm listening to music on these, and I take one ear out, it will pause automatically.
What if you're in a room like this with a lot of people?
For what?
Well, will it not pair to the other?
No, it's paired. It's on his phone right now. If I wanted to pair it back to mine, I could pair it back to my phone.
You'd have to specifically pair it to that.
You have to specifically pair it to that phone.
It won't
It's
show
it's
it.
signed in, so it
159,
links
yeah.
up to my iCloud account, and it'll pair up to any device. And when I start hitting play, it'll ask what's going on. But the magic here is not the AirPods itself; it's something called the W1 chip.
Now, is Apple things, he only has,
Okay, we're going there. That's where we're going right now. So the W1 chip is Apple's special implementation of Bluetooth. This was not the first device to come out with the W1 chip. The first device to come out with the W1 chip was these guys. This is the Beats Solo 3. Now what's really cool is this is a pair of normal looking headphones, and this is not a lie, I have never charged these because the battery lasts like 40 hours. on these guys. And all I have to do is when I turn them on, the closest device I'm near, let me get this to pair up real quick. The closest device I'm near, it should pop up. Beats Solo 3. I hit connect, and it's connected, yeah.
I have a wireless Beats that has that little cord attached.
Yep, we're going to get there.
Does
Oh,
that work too?
we're going to get there.
Okay.
So now I've got these. Now, the one that came out second were these.
Yeah.
Again, what it is there's different ones for everyone. I'm going to show you. The last one is the most recent one and the one I would recommend for most of you, and it's not that crazy expensive. These are called the Power Beats 3. Now, we sell on board the Power Beats 2, so let's just make very clear. Don't go buy a pair of Power Beats 2 and say they're not doing this magic function, because the cool thing is Apple's actually baked in their own special type of Bluetooth that they've created called the W1 chip that pairs all of these things together. And again, look, if you look at this one, as soon as I do it, put it right next to it, it pairs it. Also, the connection works significantly better. You can, if you have an Apple Watch, you can have the headphones connected to both your iPhone and your Apple Watch at the same time. The thing is, all of these things are essentially existing form factors. This has been around since the Power Beats. This has been around. These are ear pods, but they're just wireless. They're like the ear pods that come with your phone. They're just wireless. But the newest ones I actually just got. I got me one. I got my mom a pair. These are called the Beats X. Now Apple owns Beats. Just like
Oh, I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah, Apple owns Beats.
Yeah,
Apple bought Beats, so
Been a few years.
so they've shared this. They've shared this chip with them. But I want to show you how this works real quick because these are really cool. Same method of pairing and everything like that. But they just kind of hang around your neck. There you go. They're magnetic. These are only $149 and have general availability right now. So you can find them almost
It's
anywhere.
got the chip in it.
It's got the chip in it. So I have all 4 of the devices that have the chip in it. These are my personal ones because I love my gadgets. So these all have the W1 chip. These are the only 4 devices with the W1 chip. It has not been determined yet whether Apple will license the W1 chip, but it really does solve the problem. I will tell you every day. I go to the gym. I listen to the stuff on my iPhone. Then I go down to, well, then I'm starting and stopping stuff. I can answer a phone call from my watch because it sits next to my watch at the same time. I go down to my cabin to watch some stuff on my Apple TV. It's linked up to my Apple TV so I don't disturb my neighbors. What?
Speaker?
Everything has a microphone as well. Yeah.
Sorry.
The question was microphone, yeah.
Sorry.
Everything has a microphone as well. It's very, very cool. That's called the W1 chip. Now, where we're gonna get to today, I'll tell you where we're gonna stop today because I know exactly where we're gonna go. We're going to stop on probably internal versus, well, we'll see where we get to. We'll see where we get to. I think we'll get a little further than we did last cruise, but we're going to pick it up tomorrow exactly where we stopped today to give you a little idea there. So the next thing is, what's the name of your device? That's a dumb question, but a good question. So we're going to go to the settings on our device. We're going to go to general. For the Americans in the room, we're going to go to about. For the Canadians in the room, we're going to go to about.
That's what it is.
Settings, general, and about. And you will notice the name of my iPhone is
The iLearn Master.
iLounge Manager's iPod Touch. So, I'm going to tell you a true story about iLounge Manager's iPod Touch. All the senior managers on board, now here's the thing a lot of people don't realize, I don't wear it because I don't want to, because I wrote it out of my dress code, but I have 3 stripes. I am a senior officer on board. I deal with all that. All the senior managers on board have an iPod Touch that's issued to them by the company where we get our email from and everything like that. We also all carry around iPhones as well. So what do you think everybody just does?
Dumps the pod and runs their phone.
Dumps the pod and runs their phone, yes. So that's why you'll see iLaunch Manager's iPod Touch, you'll see Hotel Director's iPod Touch, you'll see F&B Manager's iPod Touch, you'll see Bar Manager's iPod Touch, you'll see Chief Housekeeper's iPod Touch, because those were the names of the iPod Touchers that were originally given to us. So when we connected up to the Wi-Fi, it's just like, oh look, they're just using their iPod Touch.
So
You
somebody
had
in the
nothing to do
average
with that.
tower is happy as hell that you're using the stuff you sent, and they don't have a clue.
Well, here's the thing. The stuff they sent, it's an iPod Touch that's about 3 years old, and it gets a battery life of about 4 hours. So, yeah, does that answer the question there? So, do you see the name? Does anybody's name just say iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay. If your name just says iPhone, I want you to just click on it, and then you can rename it. Yes, I know yours, Vince. Your name's iPhone.
Richard,
Because I have so many iPhones that they all have the same
Name,
number.
your name,
Same name.
iPhone.
iPhone's gotta be there?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be there. It can say iPod Touch. It doesn't matter.
is this why when you hook up to your Bluetooth in your truck, it says calling from Myron Gaxtetter's
Yeah.
can I just say phone?
So we're gonna get to something called AirDrop a bit later on. You want to have something to distinguish that it's you.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be your full name. Vince has a very creative one that we'll see a bit later on. But we'll see what's there and we can name it there. Now, so if you don't want your name, you can make a nickname. You can do anything because what we're going to do later on, is we're going to do AirDrop, and it's going to identify who people are based on the name that's on their device. Does that make sense? That's why we want to make sure we get about the same place there. Now, how many apps are on your device? Any of you know?
A lot.
20.
Scroll down. Applications. 312. Anybody beat me? Now, you can only beat me because I didn't restore my phone from backup. I had 800 on my iPhone 6.
89.
89.
89.
Well, 120.
So here's, it's, what? That's my fault?
745.
Yeah. So Vince says,
But some of these are just downloaded pages, so I can get to them easily.
no, they're not. That's not counting as apps.
Oh.
Yeah.
My wife loads up a lot of these Candy Crush games, and they show up on my phone.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll chat about that. But you see, I have one song on my device. I have 126 videos. I have 4,027 photos,
That's all.
312 applications, and the applications are not really relevant. But what I think is very important is how much space do we have free?
177.
177 because he's got a 256. Most of you don't even have 177 capacity.
217.
217 free? Okay, so we got a couple people that are like me that bought the 256 gig iPhones. It's okay. But what I want to look at is I want to look at capacity, which is important. And what you'll notice is 256 is not the number that you see there. Or 16 is not the number you see there. You see like 12.
12.98.
12.98 is a 16 gig device.
59.07.
That's a 64 gig device, to give you an idea. I don't care about capacity, I care about available. Does anybody's available have the letter MB after it?
I do.
Oh, that's not good. So, MB, you want to make sure you have at least 2 gigabytes free.
Oops.
Oops.
Oh, I got
You want to make sure you have
1.5.
1.5's pushing it. Because here's the thing. What the iPhone doesn't have in RAM, here's something cool. It actually uses the storage space as what's called swap to make your device run faster. If you have less than 2 gigs of space free, your device will slow down. So you want to make sure you have at least 2 gigs of space free. Again, I'm telling you this as a developer, not as someone who will sell you a phone, but as somebody who knows how these things, phones and tablets actually work.
Is this under
But when I
available?
move my,
Yeah, under available. Do you have
when I move my
MB?
photos-
She has 46 meg.
Okay, you have 46 meg. That's not good. So in a gig is 1,000 megs. So you want to have at least 2,000 megs. You have 46
Where
megs.
do you picture it?
Solution to that is the
Yeah.
Google Photos
Google
thing.
Photos.
Yeah, it's still on the
Yeah, I know. But what you, yeah.
Just a
Free
question
up.
to her
Yeah.
phone, why, she's in that screen that you
Uh-huh.
have right now, but it says songs, video, and photos loading.
Because it's still thinking. It's okay. It's because it's still thinking. It thinks.
But Richard,
Yep.
I see you got 4,000 photos.
Uh-huh.
That's all.
Like, why wouldn't you just delete them all up to Google?
Here's the answer, because I don't need to. If I had a problem
Oh.
in available space,
So
I
don't
would do
need
it.
to.
I got at least half of my phone still empty.
I still got half.
You don't have to. The
Oh.
Google Photos space thing is meant for people like my friend
Got
here, my
Got
friend
it.
here. It's
Okay.
not meant for us 256 giggers.
Okay,
So us 256 giggers, we're okay.
so as long as you keep buying 256s, you really shouldn't panic.
Hey, look, let me be completely honest. You're not buying a 256 this year. You're buying a 512.
Boy, I'm gonna get these things through to my son. I don't
Yeah.
want him to screw up.
Your son's gonna get a 512. Okay.
Get out, man.
So, the next thing I want to talk about, it's not on the sheet, but I want to talk about this, version. What's your software version you got there?
10.2.1.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
1021.
10.2.1?
Yep.
Where are you?
I think that's the most recent.
Yeah.
I have 10.3 on one of my devices, which isn't out yet.
There it is, 10.2.1.
As of about June 7th this year, I'll be running 11.0 on my iPhone. And you'll be running that 11.0 in September, October. But I'll be running it in June because I get a preview of it. What Apple does is they give 6 months to the people that make the apps to mess with it, to make sure all the apps work when it comes out for real. So I'm actually a couple of softwares behind, and it's intentional on this phone, because I keep each phone on a different software, if that makes sense. So each phone's on a different software, so I can test different apps I'm working on, different apps I'm building. If you are just using your phone as a normal person and using apps that are downloaded from the App Store and stuff like that, there is no reason not to update every time it tells you to update. The only reason you should not update is if your device is on a corporate network and it requires special apps and things. I'm just making a statement there. That's the only reason not to update whenever it asks you for an update. Now, let's talk about serial number and Wi-Fi address. Actually,
Wait a minute,
we missed something.
internal versus
We missed something. We
Yeah.
missed something.
That confuses me.
Well, there really isn't an external option, but let's talk about this. If you have an Android phone, what they have on the, no, this is intentional why I mention this. If you have an Android phone, you know that you can put in a little SD card and you can add space to your phone. The reason that doesn't exist on an iPhone is because the storage on an SD card is still very slow. Like this video right now is being taken on an SD card, but if I want to take a burst of pictures on an SD card, I couldn't reliably do that. Here's what's interesting. You know that all the Samsung phones have SD cards. All the Motorola phones have space for SD cards. Remember I told you the only thing that really competes with the iPhone is this Pixel that we talked about the other day? This Pixel doesn't have an SD card. So, since this Pixel doesn't have an SD card, you're like, because external storage is far slower than internal storage. If you saw, when I was doing that thing over Wi-Fi, it's really crazy what I was doing in Central at 1 o'clock today. You notice that the video was a little jumpy and stuff like that? Because that was coming wirelessly over external storage. So it was going to be a little, plus it was doing crazy stuff to go up to the screen. What I need you to understand, why I'm talking about external versus internal, is she just bought an iPad, and we were talking between a 32 gig and a 128 gig, and she said, you know, she has a 32 gig right now. She goes, I'm going to free up a lot of my 32 gig things with Google Photos and stuff like that. It is always good to overbuy your storage. Why that is on an iPad, yes, you can add theoretically external storage, lightning ports, wireless and stuff like that, but it is nowhere near as fast as the internal storage. So what I always tell people is when you're going to buy an iPhone, think about the storage size that you need, the storage size you think you need, and go one up from that. Most of you sitting in this room right now, I'll be completely honest, if you were to go out and say, I want to buy a new 7 Plus tomorrow, I'm going to tell you to actually get the 256 gigger. Because it's $100 more for 2 times the space of something you can never increase. Does that make sense? You want to make sure if you're buying a new phone, buy the biggest capacity. Now there are rumors that the new phone that comes out this year is going to be a 512 gigger. There's rumors of that. Do you need a 512 gigger? No, I don't need a 512 gigger. Am I going to buy a 512 gigger? You bet I am. Because here's the other thing to understand. If you buy in the top of the spectrum, your resale value is also significantly higher. So I had a friend of mine who had a 16. To a point, but let me give you an example. I had a friend of mine who bought an iPhone 7, and he had an iPhone 6S that was a 16 gig phone. I couldn't sell that phone to anybody for my life to depend on it. Yeah, you see our comment? It's nobody wanted this.
And trust me, size does matter. My wife's told me that several times.
Yeah, okay.
The bigger the man.
Yeah. Good job! Not as good as the sweatpants last night, but close. Okay. Okay, I know where we're going to stop. We're going to talk about one last thing, and we're going to stop at invert colors today, and we're going to pick up from invert colors tomorrow, but we're going to talk about serial number and its uses, and Wi-Fi MAC address, and then we're going to finish for today.
You didn't finish external storage, did you?
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
You always want to get as big in the internal storage as possible because external storage is a lot slower. All I was trying to say is, here's an example. You've probably taken a burst of a picture on your iPhone before. You've probably taken a panorama on your iPhone before. Do you know if you take a burst or a panorama on a... I didn't say Siri. If you take a burst...
Yes,
I
you
did
did.
it.
No, I didn't. If you take a burst or a panorama on an Android phone, it has to go on the internal storage. It can't go on the SD card because the SD card's not fast enough to capture all that information. So it's just to give you an idea there. But the last thing we're going to talk about today, and we're going to pick up tomorrow at invert colors, and it rolls in. This is about where we made it to last time. So I want to talk about the serial number. We all know that the serial number on our device is written in very small text on the back, and good luck.
Yes.
I will tell you, I am young. I am 29 years old. I had to read the serial number off the back of my iPhone my last vacation when I was home, and guess what? Couldn't do it.
Here.
I had to go to my sister, who was, they've made it so difficult to read. I know. I couldn't have activated the iPhone. I had a problem where it wouldn't turn on, and I had to get it there. So the serial number is listed right there. It's also listed on the box. And so it's listed there, it's listed on the box, it's listed on your receipt. If you search for your receipt, as long as you bought it from an Apple store, they send you an email with your receipt listed. But here's the thing. The serial number is not what's super important because you have copies of that. What I want to talk about is what's called the Wi-Fi address. And this is where we're going to end with today. I want to make sure we fully understand what a Wi-Fi address is. Now, another name for a Wi-Fi address is what's called a MAC address. It has nothing to do with the Mac computer. In the rest of the world, it's called a MAC address, which stands for, I really don't know, Machine Access Control. Yeah, I'm making that up, but don't tell anyone I did that. I think it's called Machine Access Control. Every single device that connects to Wi-Fi has a Wi-Fi address, a MAC address, an airport ID. They all have different names. But what it is it's a sequence of letters and numbers. You'll see this here on mine. 2C336144FE92 that is theoretically unique in the world. Now, why do I say theoretically? Is there a database that makes sure there's no two that are ever exactly the same? No. It's not a unique thing. Every manufacturer makes up their own. But there will never be another iPhone that has that same Wi-Fi address, if that makes sense. I mean, there's trillions of combinations of nine letters and 26 in the alphabet? 26 numbers. So this goes into the trillions of combinations there. But what that is the serial number of your Wi-Fi card. So when you sign into a computer, remember how I said in the future you're not going to be able to media access control? Oh, you Googled it. Good job. Vince is my Wikipedia friend. It stands for media. I was close. What did I say?
Yep, you said machine.
Yeah, it was very close.
It was very close. We just let it slide.
Yeah.
We let it slide. So here's the thing to understand. That is theoretically unique. So when you sign into a website, you're entering your username and your password, and it's also sending along your MAC address. That's why if you sign in with a new computer, it'll say, hey, we don't recognize this device. We need you to authorize from another one of your devices, because this is sent along with it. Now, another use of the MAC address, and I'm going to give you a more practical use, another use of the MAC address, someone lost their phone on board once. And I actually used this 2 cruises ago. I have the MAC address of all of my devices written down. I'm going to show you how to get the MAC address of all your devices. But someone actually walked off with this phone after my Android demo. They walked off with this phone because I was talking to someone. They walked off with the phone. Now, I have the MAC address of this phone. He didn't take it maliciously. I know the guy. I was able to see which Wi-Fi connectors, which Wi-Fi points this phone was connected to, and I could trace him walking around the ship with my phone. So I saw him go from the theater to Ocean View to his cabin. We don't actively do this. That's what Disney does. Now, you think that's a joke. But if you go to Disney, you know these little magic bands in Disney?
Yeah.
All of them have MAC addresses, and Disney traces you across their entire property. If you go on a Disney cruise ship,
They tell you.
what?
They tell you.
Yeah, it's in the terms and conditions that nobody reads.
But they actually tell you as soon as you get it, that there is a Wi-Fi device tracker.
There is a Wi-Fi device tracking.
For
It's
you. Because they're selling it, we always know where your children are.
oh, of course. You're talking about
That's
the
what
Disney.
they're selling.
Yeah, you're talking about the Disney Cruise Line one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about Disney Park and the Disney Cruise Line. Yeah, Disney Cruise Line tells it to you.
Yeah.
Disney Parks don't.
Oh, okay. I know about that.
Disney Cruise Line tells it to you. Disney Parks, it's in the terms and conditions. Yes, on Disney Cruise Line, they tell you this can be used to track your kids and stuff like that. And I actually watched my device travel all over the ship. And as it was traveling back to guest relations called me and I said, oh, you have my phone, don't you? So, but I had someone who lost an iPhone. This is another story. They lost their iPhone. And they went down to guest relations. They said, I lost my iPhone, I lost my iPhone, I lost my iPhone. And guest relations said, we don't have it, we don't have it, we don't have it. But every time you sign into Celebrity Wi-Fi, I capture your Wi-Fi address. I capture your MAC address. So I was actually able to trace that phone to the safe in the back of guest relations. Because we can use 3 Wi-Fi points to triangulate where a device is located.
Does that find a friend?
I put this in, no, it's not Find My Friends. We do not actively do this, okay? I'm the one who would actively do it. When I leave my phone around somewhere, I have my MAC addresses of all of my phones, and if I go out and I go to the crew bar one night and I don't know where I left my phone, I go the next morning, I go onto the Wi-Fi console and I go, which network is it closest to? And I can about figure out which cabin my phone was left in.
You drank too much?
Yeah, meaning I drank too much. So I can figure out about where it is. But what I want to show you is this information is not on your receipt. It's not on your box. It's nowhere but on this screen right here. So how do we take a copy of it? We're going to take a screenshot of it. Yes. We're going to take a screenshot of it.
Take a picture.
Yep. So we're just going to press the front button, the home button, and the side button briefly, just for 1 second. On an older phone, the front button and the top button, and it should flash and take a picture.
What one did you do? The bottom?
You do this
Bottom and the side. The sleep, wake, and the home.
Somewhere on the top.
Sleep, wake, and the home.
At the same time.
At the same time.
I don't know.
Mine should.
It should have just, we'll get there. That's what you did. You only press it for a second. You pressed it for about 6 seconds. It's okay.
It's a momentary.
So we press them both at the same time, and it's going to take a screenshot, and then hopefully,
And then you put it up into Google.
I think I've sold everybody on the concept of Google Photos. Is anybody not sold on the concept of Google Photos?
Now.
Good. Okay. Ron's not sold on the concept of Google Photos. Mistress is, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, Ron's not sold on the concept of Google Photos. Google Photos, just so you know, has a folder inside of it. This is going a little far, just for screenshots.
Who does?
Google Photos.
Oh, I love that.
It's just in the search box. You can see videos, selfies, and then screenshots. And you actually have a folder just for your screenshots. And it'll pull up all your screenshots.
Did you set up your Google?
And you'll see the last time I did this class was February 20. No, that's a commission. I'm not Ron.
Where is it?
Look under your phone. I don't know if
It's in Google Photos now. You're going to have to wait. Here's the answer to the question. You're going to have to wait for your pictures to upload before that populates. Just FYI, so don't go digging for it right now. But once your pictures load, you'll have that right inside of screenshots.
Apple Photos has it right away.
Apple Photos does too.
It's too small for my eyes.
Okay, what? You're not going to see this right this second because you don't have any photos in Google Photos yet?
Where's screenshots?
Watch my screen. You won't see this until you get home. Let me show you. When I search, when I go into Google Photos and I search, it says videos, selfies, and then there's a whole section that says screenshots. Now the thing is, Vince said something that I want to bring up. Vince said Apple Photos has it right away. But now I'm assuming you've lost that phone. You understand? So you have to get it from another device. So you'll get screenshots from your other devices as well.
It's there, right? It's there.
I know.
Google
It's in Google Photos.
It's in Google Photos already.
It's in Google Photos already. It hasn't uploaded yet, but it's in Google Photos already for sure.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, let me let you know what we're doing tomorrow in here. So tomorrow we've got the Gmail class at 12, 12 to 1, which means I will be, no, not in here. Gmail's in Central. But I will be back in here from 2 tomorrow. So from 2 until 3:30. Normally what I have to do is after 1, I have to go down to my cabin, check email, fill up my drink with rum and different things like that. So tomorrow morning between about 10:30 and 11:15, and tomorrow afternoon between about 2 and 3:15, if you've got any questions on anything, stop by. But tomorrow afternoon, what we're doing is we're going to finish this list. It's going to take us about 20 minutes to finish this list, and then we're going to talk about some apps.
And that's in here?
That's in here at 3:30. Now, one of my favorite apps I'm going to talk about, this is going to make people's minds explode. I'm going to show you, watch this seriously. I'm going to show you how to put videos and music on your phone or iPad without iTunes.
What?
Without iTunes.
Nice.
I don't care where you get those video files from, that's not my problem. But without iTunes, and how to link together and basically give yourself a C drive on your iPhone or iPad, so you can download files and do different things like that, along with a couple of other apps. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow in here at 3:30, and we've got the Gmail before that, which has some really cool apps. I'm going to give myself a tattoo. I'm going to do some different really cool things. Not a real tattoo, a virtual tattoo.
Alright.
But we'll take a look at that. So 12 o'clock and 3:30 tomorrow, we will finish this list, plus there will be one more list. And you will have on the Gmail sheet that's going to be given out tomorrow, they're in my cabin now, you will have my email address in there. I do respond to every email. If it's a C day, I generally don't respond until after 5 or 6 in the evening, after I've had my evening nap. But elsewise,
Whoa. If you don't go to the Gmail thing, do we still get your email?
yeah,
Okay.
of course you do. Yeah, you can get it later. That's it.